Brexit border rules could cut shelf life of fresh food from the EU by a fifth, says experts. They're going to read into this more from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Guardian with the headline that Brexit border rules could cut shelf life of fresh food from the EU by a fifth, says experts. Requirement for importers to give 24-hour notice of deliveries described as unfeasible by suppliers. Guys, while you're here, before I give my thoughts, if you can hit the like button and share this across social media so other people are aware of this video. So once again, guys, we're talking about some of the faults and the problems that we have with Brexit. And fresh food, guys, we rely a lot of imports of fresh food from the EU, and that's going to change. The reduction of it is going to change as these rules come into play. The damage is, you are going to see that damage in your supermarkets, in your shops. Either the prices will go up on them, or you will just not see them anymore. Which means that our choices of our choices in our supermarkets will go down as a result of this. And I just really have to ask yourself: is this really worth it? Is all of this really worth it for sovereignty? Is it really worth all this? Now, you might argue that these experts don't know what they're talking about. Well, that could be true. You might not be somebody that believes in experts. Well, that's not gotten us quite far yet when we stop listening to experts, if I'm absolutely honest. But you only need to see your supermarket shelves and see how things have changed and adapted since we have officially left the EU. And we're not better off. We're not. And we're going to and things are going to get a lot worse. And you're going to see that. You're going to see it on your shelves. You're going to see it on your high streets. You're going to see a lot more of it. So if you want to play into this denial, that's fine. That's your choice. But you can't deny what your eyes and ears are seeing around you, regardless of whether you believe this article or my opinions or not. The new Brexit border rules could cut the shelf life of fresh food from mainland Europe by a fifth and leave some deliveries from the EU unsaleable, major food bodies have warned. The SPS Certification Working Group, which represents 30 trade bodies covering £100 billion of the UK food supply, said that new rules requiring importers to notify authorities a day before they arrive in the UK was unfeasible and could mean that some European businesses decide to stop supplying to the UK. Just on that bit alone, guys, it should be a red flag for you. Yeah, why should European businesses have to go through this hell? Why should they? They don't need to. They have plenty of other nations within the European Union that they could go to. Like this perception that they would like to continue trading with us, some of these businesses, but it's not worth it to them. If they can go and somewhere else that won't be as much of a hassle, that will mean less costs, less paperwork, chances are they're probably going to do it. And if, say, for example, 10, 20 plus years, whatever, in the future, we do decide to go back into the EU and rejoin the single market, those businesses won't be the same way they were before. We will have to fight tooth and nail to win back some of these businesses, but new businesses as well, in order to establish those links that we had before as well. So we are going to be worse off in the long term as well as the short term on this, guys. Currently, suppliers in the EU do not need to notify the UK government before delivering meat and dairy products, meaning deliveries can arrive in the UK within hours of being dispatched from their farms or processing plants in the EU. However, under new border rules coming into effect in April, the government requires importers to notify the UK authorities at least a day before they arrive at the border post, which businesses fear will add huge delays for deliveries of perishable goods. We have to have these in place. We have to have these in place because we are a third country. We're diverging from EU standards as well. So these things have to come into place. It's not a case of why are we. You shouldn't be asking the questions of why are we doing this. The question should be asking, why did we vote for this? How is this benefiting businesses? Who is this benefiting? Experts says there were particular fears over the potential impact of products with particularly short shelf life, such as fresh unfrozen meat and some products that contain eggs. In a letter to Steve Barclay, the Secretary of State for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, the group wrote, Great Britain's requirement for one working day pre-notification is unfeasible for just-in-time supply for GP to perishable, short shelf life fresh food ingredients arriving from the EU. Yeah, it isn't feasible. A one-day delay to exportations can mean a 20% loss of shelf life, ultimately rendering the food unsellable. The group also argued that these delays could also make the supply in the UK commercially unviable for some EU companies. We've already established that it's not going to make them viable. The SPS working force formed 3 years ago, including a member of the food businesses, from farmers to food producers and wholers, members including the Fresh Produce Consortium, Chilled Food Association, Dairy UK and the Road Haulage Association. All these groups, guys. It was set up in advance for the implementation of the border targeting operation model, which will require European importers to provide health certificates for medium and high risk animal and plant produce from the 31st of January. This will be followed by physical checks at the border at the end of April. Kate Goodburn, chair of the SPS and director general of the Chilled Food Association, said the 24-hour notification rules would lead to food going to waste. You will need a certain amount of time to move something fresh coming into the UK to get it to the shops and onto the shelves, she said. Yeah, like I said, these EU businesses are going to be working more, have to do more in order to get them into the UK. And my question to you is, why should they? You need to have at least 75% of shelf life when you have received it, either as a manufacturer or retailer, for it to be able to handle it. Get it on the shelves and sell it. If you take off the 20%, it destroys the ability to use much of that raw food material. Peter Harwick, political advisor of the British Meat Processors Association, called the 24-hour pre-notification totally impractical, he said. Currently, if a vehicle is loading in Ireland, you would expect it to arrive at the border within 6 hours, 8 at the most. The 24-hour rule would mean refrigerated lorries sitting in a park somewhere as the shelf life is affected. In a letter to Barclay, including 16 different concerns, the food industry has regarded the government's border plans. These include concerns about the fact that the government has yet to publish the details of the opening hours of its border post, despite the start date being just 13 weeks away. So they haven't even opened the details of the opening hours of the border post. Oh, what is wrong with these people? They haven't even published the details, for crying out loud. How pathetic is this government? Oh my God. It also warns that added red tape and certification requirements limited the ability of suppliers to send difficult products in the same consignments, which could curtail imports, increase food inflation, and reduce UK food security. The government understands that the Guardian understands that the government will initially take a pragmatic approach to the 24-hour pre-notification, and DEFRA officials have indicated that if health certificates for produce have been deemed acceptable, late goods will not be held. A government spokesperson said, "We remain committed to delivering the most advanced border in the world." The border target operating model is key to delivering this, protecting the UK's biosecurity from potentially harmful pests and diseases, and maintaining trust in our exports. We've worked extensively with traders to ensure new controls and requirements are clear and not burdensome, which is why low-risk produce face no certifications or checks, while medium-risk produce will undergo reduced checks. Minimising the risk of delays, we will continue to work closely with businesses across the UK as the controls are implemented. Oh, for fuck's sake, guys. This is not going away. This issue of Brexit is not going away, guys. I mean, the government says they are working on this. Do I have a lot of faith with this government? Not really. But I do think that businesses on this side here in England and the UK in particular are kicking the government up the backside, shall we say, to pushing them to ensure that they get this ready. But I don't think they're doing nowhere near enough, this government. Nowhere near enough. And there's going to be so much loss it's going to hurt us. It's going to hurt us businesses. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt the British economy when this starts, as this slowly starts kicking in. This stuff, it really will, guys. We may not feel it straight away, but over time it will. And the question is how the Conservatives are going to handle it as they run up to the next general election. How will a Labour government handle this if they come into power at the next general election? These are questions that need to be asked as well. So what do you guys think? What do you make of the new Brexit border rules? The potential of shelf life of fresh food being cut? What do you guys make of these? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you found this video interesting and informative or helpful, please hit the like button, be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media and hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified of when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Patreon for exclusive content. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.